The era of DTC is dead. We're going to pick over the bones to see what morsels Amazon sellers can learn from it. Okay, so here's the headline. DTC isn't dead, but it just got seriously humbled. And there are some serious lessons as Amazon sellers we need to learn if we don't want to follow.
I kind of potentially disagree with some of this. So let's just go through. What do you mean by it got humbled?
Right. So DTC's had a very tumultuous few years, right? We had that huge period, 2016 through to 2019, really strong. And since then, they've been falling by the wayside.
Okay, so which ones? I mean, like, which ones come to mind? Because I mean, some that I think of are like killing it right now. So I think some mattress companies, definitely. We know when some of the shaving companies. There are a number of very specific niches, and we could list through. But I'm keen to understand why you disagree on this. When I think of D2C brands, a lot of them are doing really well, right? So think of quite a few that we work with. They're all doing really well, and there's not a plug, but it just is. But a lot of them doing well, even beyond the ones that we work with. D2C is very much on the rise overall, right? I don't see it as in decline. And I think it's about the definition of what we're defining as D2C.
Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so definition here is a pure play website to consumer, bypassing the retailers completely straight through.
So website only. You're saying D2C is website only, whereas I see D2C as like different. For me, D2C is anyone who is selling via a channel, may not even be online, that bypasses a major retailer. So they have a direct relationship with the customer, D2C, direct to customer. That's how I see it. So it could be website, it could be Amazon, it's eBay, it could be door-to-door selling vacuum cleaners.
Okay, fine. I really like your definition. So maybe just to define it, I was talking about people pure website plays, and those pure website plays have struggled. And let's just to understand this, right? They started under the premise when traffic was really cheap to buy, particularly from Google and from social. And what they've struggled with is as the cost of that acquisition has increased, as the price has gone up, and just to kind of like really lay onto them.
iOS 14.
Yeah, the update came through and suddenly you lose all that transparency and you just don't understand what's working. And when you've got higher cost per acquisition, you don't know what's working, things really, and you just can't justify the continued spend.
Fine. Okay, so those guys financially got pummeled a fair bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you taking from this as the bit for Amazon sellers then?
So two parts to this, right? I think the lesson to learn from here are the DTC brands that you're kind of referring to. Those that suddenly went, hold on a second, we can't just be one channel, we need to be multi-channel.
Yeah.
Right? That was a key lesson they learned. And I think if you're an Amazon first seller, then ultimately there are quite a few Amazon first sellers, 7-figure businesses who are sort of like one algorithm tweak away from disaster. You're so reliant, particularly on Amazon, on that channel and on that algorithm to drive your sales.
Yeah.
And you need some resilience built into it.
Yeah. Okay. So what you're really saying is like, look, if you're over relying on a single channel for your direct to customer relationship, whether it's Shopify, Amazon, whatever it might be, that's your mistake. You need to, or actually, I'm going to even take a step further. If it's also top of funnel, right? Because if you're highly dependent on Meta traffic or TikTok traffic, and that's your sole source of traffic, then alarm bells, be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we just take a look at that, we know for a fact, particularly Meta and TikTok, and TikTok, it really fits into this. It's unreliable. I mean, you can bring phenomenal results. They're highly unpredictable. And so, yeah, you've seen lots of people saying, look, I'm selling out on TikTok. But ultimately, they're selling out because they weren't able to predict how much supply they needed. And what we're not hearing is how many people are sat there with tons of stock and haven't been able to sell out because it just hasn't worked a second or third time for them.
Okay. And so the advice is basically diversify, get off single platform and go everywhere, or what?
Yeah. So I think part of the mistake is that people look at all the channels and they'll measure and go, okay, fine, the cost acquisition is this much here. The cost of lifetime value is easier to maintain if we do it on our website. Ultimately, what you need is a mix of all of these, and then and then what you then have is this blended margin across all of those channels. Some are going to give you better lifetime value, some are going to give you better cost of acquisition, some are just going to give you better volume. And you need all of those parts in your business.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So what we're really looking at, what we're saying is like, look, if you imagine the D2C funnel, you've got at the top, you've got awareness building, and then very bottom, you've got conversions. The marketplaces are your conversion machines. They're the bits that are converting. So your Shopify's and your marketplaces, that's where that's happening. And the awareness building. What you're really saying is look at the whole funnel, where appropriate, as much as possible, engage all elements of the funnel and all of the entities and avenues along there.
Yeah, absolutely. And lean into each of them for what they're strong at. The other bit I think is really important on this is you really need to be less reliant. And this is as you mature, because at the beginning, you're going to need that paid visibility, but you need to become less reliant on that paid visibility. It's really hard, especially when you're pushing for more growth. But sometimes you need to just take a moment, step back and focus on that organic ranking, whether it's in search in Google or on your social or on your Amazon. Organic is going to be really key.
Right. And then that kind of harks back to all the stuff that people have been saying for a very long time, right? The whole idea of building those moats and building that community around your brand, right? So get that tribe, get that like 100,000 true fans, all that kind of stuff, and build that customer base and around you in some organic capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, this is some brands like Gymshark have done this extremely well, built that cult following. I think everyone looks at kind of the end result and they forget all the hard work that actually took for them to get there. And I think when you're looking at it as a new business, you've just got to understand how important it is to have all of those channels playing, what their strengths are. You need to understand them, not try to push for the wrong metric from the wrong one. And when it comes to that organic side, I think my biggest reservation when direct to consumer, the website play was going on, is people were spending an absolute fortune of money that had obviously been invested, wasn't sustainable, to acquire customers as quickly as possible on the basis that there was going to be a really high
mattress companies
lifetime value. Mattress companies, there were lots in there that did that, and it was all on the basis of a really high lifetime value. Now, one of the problems I had is, sure, you might be talking about the fact that 28% of your customers returned. 72% of them didn't return. They didn't come back. And that's a really high amount. And the simple fact is, mattress companies comes to mind because people only buy a mattress every 8 to 10 years. That was just a crazy play. But there were people that were doing it, like the shave clubs and so forth, on a much shorter one. But lifetime value doesn't stick around forever. And there'll be other brands coming in, shopping, trying to pinch them away from you. And again, none of this was really thought through. So like I said, some real lessons, I think, anyone with an Amazon first strategy in particular should be paying attention to.
All right, there we go. So listeners, look at the whole funnel, look at all the different parts of it, and capitalize each piece, not just your single home and where you started out.
That's it.
Cool. Simple. One love.
One love.
If that was helpful, gang, tune in every Wednesday. We've got a new podcast coming out. So hopefully see you there. One love.